Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. As always, it is Nick here, back with your daily crypto news and analysis. And today we're going to be talking about Quant Network or QNT. So let's just dive in and let's talk about a few things. So I'm still expecting some nice lows on QNT to be targeted, similar to my H-bar video. I have been waiting patiently. Obviously, I have been accumulating here and there and DCAing in. Like for an example, I took some positions when we were in the $40 range because hey, from there, it was nearly like a 10x opportunity. So I figured, why not? Why wouldn't I, buy there? So I'm still waiting for some nice lows, like roughly the $31 range, going back to like the summertime deep dips that we've seen. This is like basically a floor that we built back here, by the way, going all the way back as like far as like March of 2021. And we could come down lower. For an example, like I don't know why that just did that. Sorry. For an example, like we could come down to like this $11 range to possibly like even the $20 range. That would be something pretty significant. It would be the yearly low that we would be testing at around like $11. That would be a huge area to, really get into. But for me personally, I don't believe that those levels will be targeted. It's hard to say. On Bitcoin, I'm still expecting like the 16K area to be tested at some point in time. And yes, we could go down lower. I've seen a lot of people saying like, the bear market bottom for Bitcoin is like roughly around like the 10 to 11K zone. And hey, is that possible? Sure, it is. We don't know exactly where the bottom is going to be. I'm not going to try to call the exact bottom because it's just inaccurate to do so. And honestly, nobody really knows exactly where the bottom could go. We just have support zones and we have demand ranges that we are really kind of eyeing. But for me personally, it's not about where the bottom is. It's about accumulation and the long-term growth here. Because when we really kind of look at where crypto is headed, I do believe that cross-chain, in general, like we're seeing cross-chain interoperability becoming a big spotlighted thing. And yes, there's other use cases within this area for like, other projects. Like for an example, like Chainlink would be perfect for this in terms of like cross-chain interoperability. But I also do think that, Quant is also pretty big within this area as well. That this is like the competitor, sort of market for both of them. I've seen a lot of people like on my TikTok, for an example, they were talking about like how Chainlink is basically the major interoperability, asset to be utilized within like the legacy system and the DLT system, but it's just not. Quant is the only one that's really been proven within that area. But talking about DeFi and talking about sectors, because I do completely agree with this, they actually like talk about like, Pokedex, for an example, like this like a partnership, if you will, that they're talking about, but it still is pretty realistic when you actually look at things. Like a multi-chain world is going to be, it's definitely going to be the realistic viewpoint within, crypto. It's not just going to be one, network that is the, the big thing, or, the only successful network. There's going to be multiple networks being utilized. There's going to be multiple chains within this market that are going to grasp a large portion of many markets and industries around the world. In fact, Chamber of Digital Commerce actually posted this video, which I retweeted because it was actually pretty realistic on how we will basically facilitate crypto adoption going forward. And they're saying blockchain is the new internet. If the U.S. builds a framework that supports businesses, we will see one of the most prosperous economic booms we've seen in years. We merely need to get the policy right. And listen closely.
When we talk about crypto in this town, a lot of people think financial innovation, but we are rebuilding the internet, a peer-to-peer internet, and that is going to impact every area of our economy, very similar to how the internet itself completely changed the way that we share information and the way government works and the way businesses work.
I also do believe that when we talk about blockchain or just crypto in general, it's actually larger than the internet, but we'll listen closely.
Blockchains are going to do the same thing. And I strongly believe that if Washington is able to get this right, if they're able to build a regulatory framework that supports businesses developing and innovating here in the United States, we will see an economic boom in this country like we haven't seen in decades, something akin to what we saw to the internet boom or the economic growth we saw in the 1920s. It's that powerful, and it's that key that we get this right. We have a long way to go. When I testified in the Senate Ag Committee just a couple of months ago, Sam Bankman-Fried, the CEO of FTX, shared some data about what's actually happening in the crypto economy. And he said over 90% of trading volumes is happening outside of the US. Yet, the mass majority of intellectual property, so the development, from our technical community that's going into building these innovations, that's coming from US people. So just think about that for a minute. How disappointing and how much of a problem is it that we have the American innovation economy putting a huge amount of time and resources and make up the majority of this ecosystem, yet it's all happening overseas. How did we get this so wrong to begin with? How did we push so much innovation, so much economic activity elsewhere? We need to bring that back if the US wants to remain at the forefront of technical and financial leadership. When we talk
And she actually really is on a good point. Like, regulations will open the doors for a large amount of these crypto use cases to be utilized properly. But again, a lot, like when we really kind of look at this, like a large amount of those use cases that are trying to, for an example, like restructure the financial sector or even like CBDCs, right? They still need that one thing, that one major thing. And can you guys guess what it is? Because we're like right now, like I have been addressing Quant for so long, and if you guys have been a long-term watcher of mine, you guys know that interoperability is probably one of the biggest keys to success, especially like around like crypto adoption, right? And she has a great point in terms of like the foundational things that are happening around crypto. It's around CBDCs. We actually do see here from the BIS, they're saying, central bank digital currencies poised to be the foundation of the financial system. Here it comes. CBDCs are going to be absolutely massive going forward. We actually just seen Cointelegraph actually post this saying basically every bank is looking into how to use digital money. And this is actually a report saying, the BIS, 90% of central banks are researching the utility of CBDCs. The report suggests that recent implosions in DeFi highlight the need for CBDCs. And of course, when we go over there and really kind of look at this, we do see down here, they're basically investigating the feasibility of adopting central bank digital currencies. They're basically highlighting the ability of current sovereign fiat money to provide relative price stability and public oversight when criticizing, crypto's inability to perform basic fundamental functions of money and their opacity with, regards to accountability to the general public. They're also mentioning like DeFi and, the issues around it, but we do see, DeFi as potential benefits that would make a case for integration into CBDCs. I think that when we really kind of look at DeFi, it's going to be a focus point. And again, when we go back to that initial, article, yes, interoperability does matter in the DeFi sector. But we also do see, there are currently 3 live retail CBDCs with 28 pilots. A digital yuan issued by the People's Bank of China currently holds the dominant position with 261 million users. In addition, over 60 jurisdictions have fast retail payment systems. Now, again, when we really kind of look at this is going to be huge. Again, when we talk about like the bridging that needs to happen here, in order for all of these connections to actually be made, in order for CBDCs to actually truly be adopted and being utilized on a day-to-day basis, interoperability is still at the key position to really kind of facilitate these payments, to facilitate these use cases. You look at use cases that are being brought out within crypto and everybody gets excited about it, right? A new token comes out. Oh, this is so great. I can't wait to invest my money into it because of the use case. It's so huge. Like, for an example, XRP, right? And again, no hate towards XRP. I love it. In fact, I hold a ton of XRP. But the issue that I foresee happening with XRP being the bridge currency in quotation marks around CBDCs is the fact that there still needs to be interoperability bridges being built. You still need to have that interoperability between networks simply because you will see CBDCs being issued on different DLTs. This is going to be a multi-DLT, sector. It's not just going to be multi-chain, right? Cross-chain and multi-chain is huge, but it's going to be a multi-DLT system. And it's going to run through all one massive network, a DLN, that's built on Quant. Quant is going to solve the interoperability for, banks. It's going to solve the interoperability of many things. And I try to explain this to people all the time, and they just bring up Chainlink or they bring up Atom, and it really kind of just shows me that first off, they're lacking in terms of like a research, area, but also they don't understand the interoperability needs between the legacy systems and the digital systems. To me, when we really kind of look at things and take a step back and truly reevaluate our position right now, especially in regards to, CBDCs and the digital framework, one thing's clear to me and one thing's evident, and that is Quant is 100% needed. an interoperability solution that is going to facilitate the instant connection to the digital framework without changing anything through a 3-line code API gateway that's instantly set up. That's going to usher in and revolutionize not only the payment markets, but also like other industries as well. And I just talked to you guys about this with Cisco yesterday. So when we really kind of look at how big Quant could be, the upside is endless. And we actually do see over here from BIS Innovation Hub London and Bank of England invites companies to advise them advise them. I think that's what Sun and L11 meant here. Them on CBDC API prototypes. Project Rosalind is going for 2-tier model, the same model Q&T is implementing with IDB/LAC chain. I'm sure Quant got an invite as well, and we do see here he's basically interested. And here's the BIS. They're talking about 2-tier distribution model, central bank at the foundation of the retail CBDC system and customer-facing activities carried out by the private sector. And of course, when we go back down here, we do see Quant's multi-ledger token can be utilized for CBDCs in 2 ways. 1, cross-border. 2, possibly even more importantly for Quant, central bank to retail banks. This is in line with BIS 2-tier CBDC model and Latin America dollar. And of course, we do see that here. Or single country CBDC when CB ledger and the ledgers operated by payment providers for their clients are utilizing different frameworks. And we also see on the secondary page here, this is basically the potential retail CBDC architects. Here is basically what you will be seeing. This is that 2-tier multi-cell. When we really kind of look at this again, this still needs that interoperability bridge between all of them, because most likely these will be built on completely different networks, but it still needs that connection type. And we already know who's going to solve that. And we do see here the BIS or the tier BIS 2-tier model is likely the model most centralized banks or central banks will go for. The retail banks will bring their own framework, something we see with the Latin American dollar. Frictionless deployment fixed by universal interoperability. And of course, we do see that here. This is a full-on breakdown of it. It's a huge article, and if you guys want to go check this out, you guys are more than welcome to. It's from May 23rd. It's from SON and L11. This is from the World Economic Forum, IDB, and Q&T. Again, this is probably one of the biggest opportunities of our lifetime when we really kind of look back on it. I think that a large amount of individuals are going to be kicking themselves, thinking like, all right, I should have knew exactly where Q&T was headed. But a lot of them are not doing their research. But we do see here some insight CBDC for 12 countries. Each jurisdiction can have its own, infrastructure, pick their own DOT, can connect directly onto, their existing legacy infrastructure, not one way, but next gen interoperability DVP corridors with Citibank likely. And here we have from April 26th, CBDCs are here, says Gilbert Verdian. What we're seeing is a practical, policy-led view of them. Every jurisdiction has different requirements. We're implementing the CBDC in Latin America for 12 countries. Having digital assets really enables trade. And when we really kind of look at the facts, at the end of the day, CBDCs are here. CBDCs are going to be, ushered in. They're being adopted in. We are seeing them go from pilot to live. And when we really kind of look at it, this is 90% of the central banks around the world. Think about how much money will be facilitated and moved over this network, because at the end of the day, it all needs to be able to be interconnected. And to me personally, like the way that I look at this, right, is you'll see, like for an example, Quant, right? It has already solved interoperability. They're not going to go after like multiple interoperability solutions. Like for an example, we talk about DLTs. Yes, multiple DLTs will be utilized, and of course, central banks will choose their specific DLT that they want to launch their DLT or their CBDC on. You'll have private and public DLTs, but there's only going to be one interoperability solution. There's only going to be one Quant, and that's why I say like Quant is going to be a giant going forward. The amount of value that Quant will unlock is truly limitless. So with that being said, I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, definitely leave a like, subscribe, turn notifications on if you guys want more free content. You guys are more than welcome to follow me on Twitter and join the free Discord down in the description below. As always, up to you all, have a beautiful day or beautiful night wherever you guys are in this beautiful world. This has been Nick. Peace out, guys.